angles. I can solve problems using relationships between angles formed by intersecting lines. So let's draw two intersecting lines. If I give you this is 40 degrees, you should be able to find this. It's 140 because they are special angle pairs. They're pairs of angles that equal 180 degrees. They're supplementary. Now, a little cool fact we're going to work on today too is when I cross these, you will notice, do you see how this angle and this angle look the same? Well, it's because they are. Let's see if I can draw it here. If I take this angle and I rotate it, it will give me a replica, a match on the other side. They are known as vertical angles. They share the same vertex and they're directly opposite. So once I know this is 40, I know this is automatically 40 degrees. Just like I know this one is 140, this one's 140 degrees because it's its opposite. Those are known as vertical angles when they're opposite of each other. The other cool thing with supplementary angles, or complementary, that are right next to each other, these are considered adjacent. Adjacent means they're right next to each other. So 40 and 140 is right next to each other here. This 40 and this 140 are right next to each other. They are adjacent. They share a side and the vertex. This 40 and this 140 and this 40 would be adjacent. So we have some new vocabulary words to look at on our vocabulary sheet. Adjacent. Adjacent means next to. Okay? They share a vertex and a side, but I do also want you to write the words next to. They are next to each other. I'm sorry about my writing on here. So here's a picture. I do two intersecting lines and I'm telling you 1 and 2 are adjacent. 1 and 4 are adjacent. Vertical then means opposite of each other. So using that same drawing, 1 and 3 would be opposite. So they're vertical. 2 and 4 are vertical. Vertical angles are congruent. Congruent would mean they have the same exact measurement. So for instance, two angles that are the same exact measurements are considered congruent. Just like with perpendicular and parallel, there's a shortcut way to write congruent. And it looks like this. It's an equal sign with a little squiggle on top. So we can put that little symbol next to vertical because vertical angles are always congruent. They're the same. So if you looked at this, I'm going to ask a couple questions. You just have to see if you can answer them. If I asked you for the vertical angle of the smiley face, you should tell me the rainbow. If I asked you an adjacent angle to the rainbow one, you would tell me adjacent would be the the daisy or the stars. I could ask you, give me a supplementary angle to the daisy. Supplementary again means 180. So this angle plus this angle would give me 180. Or this angle plus this angle would give me 180. So that happens when we intersect two lines. But what happens when we have a set of parallel lines? We're going to pick up another new vocabulary word. First of all, one that you don't have to know but you need to hear is let's get a line that intersects through them. This line, and I want you to draw this in your notebook, is called a transversal. It cuts through them. What is cool about a transversal, again, if we just look up here, we have two intersecting lines. If we know this is 140 degrees, we would know this is because they're vertical. We could find this because they're supplementary, which would make this 40. But here's a cool thing that happens with a transversal. Do you see how this angle right here, 140 degrees, it's on the top? Well, if I slide it on the transversal, It also matches the top here. When you cut them through, you end up with the same angle. So this is 140 degrees. I could look at any of the angles. I'll draw this one in blue. If I look at this one, sorry, I can't draw straight, but I slide it on this transversal, it's exactly this angle here. Same, I could continue to do this for all of these. Maybe we'll use pink here. If I take this one and I slide it along the transversal, along the transversal, I will get that angle right there. So they are also congruent. So corresponding is the new word. Corresponding, it means in this angle in the same location in parallel lines. So when I have a set of parallel lines, these angles are in the same location. They're called corresponding. So you're going to get beginning on your worksheet.